This is the Next Bite of Life podcast, the place to be to hear personal stories from expats, digital nomads, and everybody else taking their next bite of life. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Next Bite of Life podcast. My name is Kem Kem. Today's guest is Eduardo Lozano. How you doing, Eduardo?
Oh, I'm doing great, Cam. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm so glad you were able to come on the show because I really wanted to talk to you about your experiences in Japan. But first, before we do any of that, I usually ask, where are you now?
Right now, I'm living in Japan. I'm living in the countryside, actually.
Sorry, I didn't know how to say the word of the place you're living in.
I live in Tokushima, in the it's in the island of Shikoku. It's one of because Japan has many islands. It's in the island that's pretty much surrounded by nothing. There's
Oh,
bridges
wow.
that connect to the mainland, so we're like one of the little islands.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I thought it was the mainland. I was going to ask you, so how close is it to Tokyo? Just shows you how stupid I am when it comes to geography, I guess. So you're on an island. Now, how long have you been there?
I've been living in Japan for over 4 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Where were you living before that?
I was born and raised in Chicago, and I pretty much lived there until I had to go to university. I went to Ohio State, so I was in Ohio for maybe 3.5 years.
Was that a good experience going from Chicago to Ohio? I mean, it seems like quite a world of difference there.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's definitely a world of difference. I mean, I grew up in the big city. I'm a city boy, but I honestly now I love the countryside. I love smaller places because like I said, I don't like traffic for starters. That's one of the things I don't like about Chicago is the traffic.
Yeah.
And when I went to Ohio, I mean there's still traffic. It is a big city, but not as big as Chicago, but I was able to acclimate very easily. I made new friends and everything just went smoothly.
Really? Did you feel like you were missing out on anything at all? I mean, for not friendship, but like food. Like for me, food is a really big thing. And if I wasn't able to find my favorite food, I would be like, oh my God. I imagine that Chicago must have been more as far as cuisine, maybe, a wider variety than in Ohio.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for starters, my mama's cooking is there.
That's always
So,
something to miss, isn't it?
oh yeah, yeah. My mom, forget it. That's number one, as they say here in Japan, ichiban number one. So it was, the thing that I missed the most. But there, I have my places that I like to go to. Like my spots in Chicago. So
Yeah.
when I moved to Ohio, I had to find, I guess, spots that would replace whatever the place I used to hang out in.
Did they, did you find like I assume because everybody, like I have a couple of friends here and they're from Chicago and they talk about some pizza place. Did you find a good pizza place
Oh,
there? Oh, I know I
no,
touched
no,
on a
no,
nerve,
no,
didn't
no.
I?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean no. No way. I have not found a pizza place anywhere that I liked except in Chicago with the Chicago style deep dish pizza. I
Oh.
mean, you can't find it anywhere else. So
No, that
that
sounds
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I used to live in Boston and we had just one numero uno pizzeria, and it was deep dish. And my God, the lines out of that place was just insane because, we weren't used to it. We had the thin pizzas. And so to have this deep dish, it was like everybody's favorite place, like on the weekends, especially, you couldn't get in. So I can imagine how hard it must have been for you too. Did you ever have your
Yeah.
mom send you like care packages or anything?
No, no, I tried. I went cold turkey, as they say, because I really missed it. But when I would go back, I
Yeah.
would have it. But no, I never had my mom, which it wasn't. It actually never crossed my mind. Where were you? You would have told me this. I would have told my mom that in a heartbeat.
Oh, I'm sure she would have loved it too. What mom wouldn't love to, like, oh, my son was asking for this and I had to send him some, you know? So when you were in Ohio, was this where you got your love for acting and directing? Because I know that you've done a little bit of both.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I always love the arts. I mean, out of Chicago, I always loved the arts, but I never got involved. I don't know if it was because I didn't have time or it just wasn't my thing at that time. But when I got to Ohio, I made friends that were into the arts, and they sort of, I guess, my that switch I had in my head just turned on, and I got really into it, and I started doing, theater and then filming later on after I felt more comfortable with the acting. I'm like, you know what? Let's try directing. So I tried that,
Hmm.
and out of nowhere, I did a short film and I won first place in short film festival. And that was the day I
Wow.
realized that, wow, I actually, I have some talent here if I could do this.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, what a big boost. I mean, really.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so how long did you keep doing that for? So once you found that love, you kept doing it, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I like when I did my first film, my one of my best friends there in Ohio, I told him, we went to get some light dinner before the ceremony because they were gonna announce winners, and I told them, look,
Yeah.
this is I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, I just want to feel like I belong in this festival. I don't want to go there, watch the movie, and then I feel like our movie's like, a D rated, C rated movie, like it's the worst. I said, as
Yeah.
long as I feel we belong, I think
Yeah.
I will be fine. I said, we don't have to win as long as I feel we belong. That's my goal. And
Yeah.
he said, yes, I agree with you, because we were both nervous. So we went there,
Yeah.
we sat down, and because it was being in a movie theater and they had the silver screen, the big screen. I'm like, okay, my movies,
Wow.
so I was like happy. And then when I saw the competition, I started feeling better. I was like, oh, I think my film is better than this one. And after we saw all of them, I said, you know what? Mine is. I would call it top five. I said top five, maybe
Wow.
top three. And then they announced the winner, and I looked at my friend, and he looked at me, dude, get up,
Like
say something. And I'm like,
like top one.
yeah. So we
Oh, that's
won.
fantastic. Now, is it something that we can see on YouTube or anything?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You could definitely check this out. The short film is called now I can't remember it. It's you could check out my YouTube page. It's Living La Vida in Japan, and I have all sorts of random videos that, because I used to do in Japan, do I started getting into video game reviews
Uh-huh.
just because I miss the art. So I started my own YouTube channel. Before I started the podcast, I wanted to do
Yeah.
video game review because I'm a big gamer, and
Yeah.
I that's where I posted several movies that I did with my friends in Ohio. They're there, and also random videos of me reviewing video games. And it's called
Wow.
Payback. Now
So
I remember Payback. That's what's the name of the
Payback.
movie. Payback.
Sort of like the Mel Gibson movie, huh?
Oh yeah,
Payback.
yeah, 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 yeah. I'm glad you caught that. No one caught that when I said I called it Payback. Oh, it's a good name. And no one, you're the first one to actually say that's the movie from the Mel Gibson clip. I'm like, yeah,
Are
that.
you kidding? That's one of my favorite movies ever. I just introduced my husband to it, and he's like, "Oh my god, how come I never saw this movie?" I go, "I've been looking for it for years." I know it's a great movie, so I can't wait to see that movie. So it's Living La Vida in Japan channel on YouTube. So anybody else who wants to check out the short can see it there. So I'm definitely going to go and check it out. Now I did check out another one of your shorts called uh oh no, the sensitive the the hitman. uh it's a movie that was shot like three, I guess it's a short series of movies, and you were in one episode where you were the main character, right? It was the sensitive hitman.
The Sensitive Hitman?
Yeah. Oh, that's what they called it. Yeah.
Really?
And yeah, you were like, and I meant to ask you because you had long hair, it was in a ponytail, and you were in the living room, and the hitman was coming to kill you, was coming to strangle you. See, you made so many of this, you don't even remember.
I'm trying to remember. Like I remember the Hitman. I remember that. Okay, let's keep going. I remember the
Okay.
Hitman. Yeah, I remember.
Well, anyway, no, go ahead. No, one thing I just wanted to say was I went to go look for it. It was just a short. It was like 2 minutes. Maybe it was a scene from a movie, the series or something. But it was
Right,
like
right.
episode two, and it was you and him, and he was hiding behind the couch, and you caught him there, and you had long hair. So do you still have that long hair?
Oh no, wow, that's a long time ago. I used to, yeah, I used
See?
I do remember the long hair. I unfortunately had to cut it because of work over here in Japan. They're very strict in how you present yourself. So I had a now it's short.
Oh wow. See, that's so funny because in my mind I pictured, oh wow, look at his long hair. I'm like, it's perfect for him in Japan because he could be like a shogun warrior or
Oh,
something. This
I
is how my mind works, you know?
oh yeah, yeah, I would love
So
to have long hair again, but unfortunately it not right now.
now, what made you leave Ohio?
uh After everything was said and done, I wanted to do something different because uh I'm like, wow, I could do this acting thing and theater thing, and where is it going to take me? It's a very hard thing to do. So I said,
Oh
I
yeah.
need to do find something else. Like for me, I've been big on exploring. I'm an adventurer. I love to explore. I've been to many different countries, and I said, you know what? Let's check out Japan. I've always wanted to visit. And I said, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
going to apply to all sorts of jobs. And if it's meant to be, I'm going to get a phone call
Yeah.
or an email or something. And yeah, like literally within a week, I got two emails from two different companies in Japan, and they
Wow.
set up interviews, and they both actually gave me the job, but I took the one that gave me the best deal. So that's how I ended up in
Yeah,
Japan.
that's amazing. So, like when you said you just applied everywhere, is there like a website for people doing this, or is there like a recruiting company, or what was it like?
The website I went to was gaijinpot.com.
Oh, so you were looking specifically in Japan, right?
Yes,
Ah,
specifically in Japan. I wanted to go to Japan. I said, I always wanted to live in a foreign country, and I said, you know what? I want to go to Japan just because I've always been a fan of the culture.
yeah.
Never been to the country, but I wanted to live in Japan, and I have friends here too before I even moved here. So
Okay.
there was it wasn't like I was flying solo. I
Uh-huh.
already knew some people here.
So the transition was a little bit better. That's great. Now,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
now, did you consider any other countries? I mean, I know you wanted to go to Japan because of the culture, but was there any other country that you had traveled to that you said to yourself, you know what, I could live here?
Spain,
Oh yeah? Which part of Spain? Don't tell me
Bar-
Barcelona, right? Of course.
Barcelona. Yeah, yeah. I went to Barcelona a long time ago, but the reason I really love Spain is because, for one, I speak the language, so
Yes,
being there would not be difficult for me. The transition would be smooth since I already speak the language. I know how to read and write it, so it would be a perfect fit.
exactly.
So, and surprisingly enough, I was actually also considering Kazakhstan of all places.
Wow. Now that's surprising. Why did you consider that? Had you been there?
Oh yes, I was there. I was there for maybe during the Christmas holidays, the New Year's holidays, and I was there for about a month. I have friends there,
Yeah.
and I actually fell in love with it. It's really beautiful. It was really
Wow.
cold for starters. I mean, though, yeah, for one thing, it is very cold, and I was like in winter wonderland because the whole place was just frozen solid. But it was very beautiful. I stayed with my friend at his house, and I was treated like family, and they told me, if you come live here, it would be like your family. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's, for me, family is important. So I felt like, okay, this is a place I could live.
Yeah. But Japan was the one that ultimately, decided it for you.
Yes, they actually
Wow.
gave me a job offer on the spot, and I couldn't be happier.
So now you teach nursery school?
Yes, I'm a nursery English teacher.
So what age group is that? Sorry, I'm very terrible with like, you know, matching kids with the school thingies.
Oh, no, no problem. It's 6 months all the way to 6 years old.
Okay. Do you find that hard at all, or is it okay being with kids all day long?
It not when if you would ask me this question when I first moved to Japan, I would have said yes. But when I first moved to Japan, I went to an eikaiwa, which is an English conversation school, and the ages varied all the way from babies all the way to university student.
Yeah.
And not surprisingly, I was a better fit for high school, university students,
Yeah.
even junior high school students. I was able to get along more with that age, and my problems were with the babies and the
Mhm.
0, 1, 2 year, because I couldn't find a common ground, something that would spark interest in, and me
Yeah.
teaching them English.
Yeah.
But now in the nursery, they love me to death. I actually I know what to do, and I think it's also because my son was born last year, so something triggered, the dad
Uh-huh.
in me triggered. So that
Ah,
switch, so that switch happened, and now yes, it's very easy to teach them. I know what to do. I know how to spark an interest and to teach them. So
that's
yes,
great. So, they're like at that age, they're like little sponges. They soak up everything that you teach them, right? They don't have their set
exactly.
ideas. That's fantastic. So, did you so apparently your son was born in Japan, right?
Oh
Did
yes.
you get married in Japan or did you get married in Ohio, like back in America?
No, Japan. It was everything happened in Japan. Like I said, it was my destiny to be here. I met my wife here and fell in love, and we got
Oh,
married a year after I moved to Japan.
wow, that's fantastic. Is she from Japan? So
Yes.
you have family there now. So see, maybe that's why you didn't end up in Kazakhstan because you knew that ultimately your psyche, your dreams, everything like it was meant to be. You were supposed to be in Japan. That's why you didn't stay there. You didn't think about that other place.
Yeah, I mean, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I mean, everything was perfect timing. I can't really describe exactly. I mean, everything happened to the T like it was supposed to happen. It's
Wow.
amazing when I think about it. So everything was just perfect.
That's fantastic. Now, let me ask you something. Did you have any sort of culture assimilation, some things that were shocking to you when you first got there? Or was it really easy because you already had friends there, so you knew what to expect? Or did anything shock you?
Uh Not really, to be honest with you, because like my personality, could acclimate to any place very easily. It's like like all my friends tell me, like, anywhere you go, you make friends easy, and it feels like you've been there for years. And it was not difficult at all for me. I mean, I knew what to expect with the whole culture, the whole tradition and
Hmm.
honor. But the one thing that has been difficult is the language barrier,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is because I didn't I came to Japan with only 1 year of Japanese under my belt, and had I known I was going to live here, I would have taken 4 years of college of
Of course,
Japanese.
right? Did they offer Japanese in college, or was it something that you could have taken as an elective? Would you have even been able to do that? Or would it have been online
Oh,
classes?
I decided to take it as just an elective because I wanted to, because I'm like, I already know English and Spanish, and I want to take something
Yeah.
else, because I love anime. So I'm like, okay, I want to watch the anime without reading the
Ah,
subtitles. That was my goal.
ah, oh, that makes sense. So, of course, I can imagine even after a year and even after being there 4 years, it must still be hard to learn it, Japanese. How is your Japanese now?
Oh, I'm able to survive. I don't feel as confident as I should, but everyone says, you're doing well. I mean, I understand what people are saying to me. But sometimes when I need to speak, I don't feel as confident as I should because I double think everything because I'm like, okay, is this what you're supposed to say?
Yes.
And but the people here has
See,
been patient with me. Like I haven't dealt with someone that's like, oh, what are you saying? It was they all been very helpful, and I that's why I feel like
yeah.
it's home here.
I find, that I know as far as like the US, it tends to be in America, they would have said something like, oh, learn the language if you're going to be here, something like that, or you don't speak the language well. My husband is Italian, and every time he would fall into an argument with somebody there, it was always like, learn to speak the language. And he's like, you know what? I speak Spanish, I speak Italian, I speak English. What do you speak? And it's like, but I see, like in Spain here, when I try with my horrible Spanish, even after all these years, people are really nice and they help you, and they take it easy on you. They don't make you feel bad because, like you, I have to think about it, and I worry too much that it's not going to sound right. But now I just go out and shoot my bums, as I call them, because I'm like, let it land where, as long as they understand me. And I think that's what's important, right? That they
Oh yes,
understand what you're
that
saying.
I agree 100% with you. If this was the US, I most likely would have been criticized for
Mm.
pronunciation, grammar, or whatnot.
Yeah.
Like you said, I just go with it with the flow. I just say it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. But they help me. So
Good. That is so good to hear, because I think for anybody listening to this who's thinking about doing something just as adventurous as you, can definitely do it. Now, I know when you graduated, did you graduate with a degree in teaching, or was it? I saw sports journalist somewhere. How did that come into play? Like, when did you take the classes to now, segue into another career?
when I was in Ohio, I was also besides journalism, I also was doing part time teaching at the theater. Like I said, in the theater, I was paid actor, so I would sometimes do plays. But they started a program where they wanted to teach theater to kids. So they hired me part time to go
Ah,
teach at YMCA's or different community programs where to
gotcha.
teach theater, and that's where I started. My, I guess you could say, my early beginnings of how to teach, and what I learned there, I used that
Hmm.
in my interview when I interviewed for the position. I used all those skills I learned, and that's what landed me the job because I use theater as a teaching tool. I use theater to teach.
That's great. Because the thing is, as long as you do it, the end result matters. And if you do it, no matter how you get to that path, whether it's through theater, going to the classes, doing the courses, or whatever it is, or living in the country, you've managed to do it and you've made a go of it. And obviously, it's working really well, because here you are 4 years later, loving it, having, a new life, a new wife, a new kid. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, does it? So you think that you're going to stay in Japan, of course, right?
Most likely, yes. I mean, it's not a good time, even if I wanted to go back to the US right now with the whole COVID thing. No, no, it's not a good
Yeah.
idea. But as I told my parents back home, I said, they actually came to visit Japan, and they actually
Oh, good.
told me, they came for the wedding. They said to me, you know what? Now I see why you love it here, because when they came here, they fell in love with where I live. They're like, wow, I love the countryside too. It's so beautiful, so
Oh,
quiet. Like
yeah.
we walked around around 2 a.m. and in Chicago, you really don't do that at 2 a.m.
No,
As
not if you value your life, right?
Yeah, especially with your parents, that are
Yeah.
they're on the retirement side already.
Yes.
So we were walking around Japan, and my mom forgot about the whole, is it okay to walk? She was feeling fine,
Yeah.
and when we got home, she's like, "Wow, I didn't realize it was so late, and I felt
Yeah.
safe." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's how it is here. You feel safe."
See, that quality of life is missing in a lot of places in the States. And I think that's probably why a lot of people one of the top reasons a lot of people are looking to move somewhere else. Because really, especially when you have a kid, there's so much to worry about besides that than to like worry about your safety every time you step out the door. And what a relief, like you said, it must have been for them to walk at 2 o'clock in the morning with no care and just go about your business knowing that everything is okay. Yeah, why wouldn't anybody want that?
Yes.
So tell me, Eduardo, do you ever see yourself saying, I don't want to teach anymore. I can speak Japanese now so well. Like, I'm not talking about now, like later on. Would you switch, or do you really enjoy what you do and you would stay a teacher, even if you go through to another age group or what have you? Or you're really happy doing that?
I'm really happy at the moment right now, but I could honestly see myself going a different career path once I feel
Hmm.
I mastered the language. I mean, I honestly would love to be involved in more theater if possible.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I wouldn't mind doing journalism again because that was a lot of fun, and especially here in
Yeah.
Japan. Is if I speak, English and Japanese at the same level,
Japanese, yeah.
it
Wow.
would be something I would totally go for in the future.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, really, that would be awesome. Now, when the school is in session, is the hour, I mean, are the hours flexible? Do you get any sort of vacation time with your school?
With the nursery, we're pretty much on. We have to work pretty much every single day, but we do get some days off during holidays. Like for example, I'm going to have like a week off for winter break, and then we have here what we call Golden Week, which is during the holidays in the first week of May and late April. We get about a week here, and then in August there's also a week vacation, but we have some days off that you could request, but since it's a nursery, it goes all year
Hmm.
round. Since
All
there's no
year
summer
round.
vacation, like unfortunately.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. Like, do you have like the three
No,
months
I
off
wish.
or
No.
whatever it is that they have? Yeah, because then you could travel and go back home and visit
Yes.
and do all that stuff. Okay. Now, is the pay okay? What is the cost of living like in Japan for you three now in Japan? What would you say the average cost, either in yen or dollars, whichever one?
Um, it depends where you live. If you live in Tokyo, the cost of living is very, very high. But where I'm staying at in the countryside, the cost of living is very low. So, uh, it, I think it's not terribly too expensive. I'm trying to come up with figures in my head right now off the top of my head, but
Mhm.
uh, you could like right now at the moment I'm the only one working. My wife is just taking care of our son, and we're getting by just fine on my teaching salary with with payments to insurance and obviously all the bills and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's it's the cost of living isn't bad. The one thing is you work. The Japanese culture is work, 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 work. Just to be clear, so
Mhm. Well, that's
expect to
true.
work a lot. That's one thing. If you come to Japan,
Yeah.
the hours of you working are big. You will have to work a lot. That's the culture here.
Wow. Does the pay match those
I wish
hours
I
or no?
wish it did. As I mean, like I said, I'm doing fine, but I wish I would get paid more. Let's just say that.
Now, let me ask you. Okay, so I know you don't have to tell me like to the dollar or whatever. Would you say like a single person could they survive where you are in Tokushima
Yes.
for $1,500 a
Oh yeah,
month?
easy. Yes, easy. I think they could if they're single and they have a full-time job. I with 1,500, I think it's possible. I mean, as long as you don't have outstanding debts that you have to pay, I think you would be fine.
Would they be able to save it? Like if you were a teacher in Japan, where you're at, because I know we can't compare it to Tokyo, obviously. If you had a job, would you still be able to save for, put some away for retirement or anything like that? Or is it all basically going to your output every month
Right now, for my situation, or if I was single.
if you were single? I mean, like if you were single and a teacher.
If I was single and a teacher on my current salary, I would be able to save up on a monthly basis, with my output. But because I have
Yeah,
a wife and a son and
yeah,
myself to feed, the
yeah,
savings is a little bit dwindled just because of that. But
yeah.
but the in the future, my son is gonna go actually to the same nursery I work in, and my wife's gonna work, so we're gonna blast off again.
I just wanted somebody listening, who has this inclination to just get an idea of what they can expect, like in the countryside, in Japan, what kind of monetary expenditures they would have. But it's nice to know, so we can say 1,500, you would still be able to save some and live an okay life, unless you're out there drinking and doing gambling
Oh
and all
yeah,
that. Now, I know you've had a love for video games, right? And you
yes.
mentioned gaming before. I guess help me understand, what is a gamer per se? Is it like you play, like, I'm older, so I know like Super Mario Brothers. Is Would that be considered gaming?
Oh yeah, that's retro gaming. That's still it's still big. People still play games from the Nintendo era. I mean, retro gaming is a thing too. I mean, there's modern gaming, retro gaming. Like for me, I prefer the retro games, to be honest with you. Those are for me the best. Like I'm not really into the what's in now. I prefer the old games.
I spent hours trying to play or played Devil May Cry. It just popped in my head this very second. And I know, like, when you're playing like games like Scrabble on the phone or something, you see them pop up and they say, like, I don't know, what one of those things like Game of Thrones looking games. So that would be gaming, because I know it's a big thing in Japan also. Do you
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
many people doing that? Is that a big thing in Japan and where you're at?
Yeah, gaming is big here in Japan. I mean, a lot of people are into different kinds of games. I mean, I also sometimes teach on the side because I have friends that own schools and they need tutors. So I teach sometimes adults. Even the adults talk to me about their
Hmm.
gaming, and everyone I've
Hmm.
talked to have different style of game. But the biggest games here in terms of genre is puzzle gaming and RPGs. Those are the two biggest, I guess, genres that mostly people here like to play.
So RPG, I assume you mean retro.
Role playing games,
Oh,
role
role
playing games.
playing. Oh, I've
Like
seen
Final Fantasy and things like that, like that
where
kind
you're
of
like a
style of game.
troll, like I see on Big Bang Theory
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, I see.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Then, well, that helps a lot, because I was always wondering. But then it's one of those questions that you never like think of asking anyone. And I saw gaming, I'm like, oh, let me ask him about this. So you do currently on your Living La Vida in Japan channel. You talk about everything from gaming to teaching and your old stuff, or is it just more geared towards your life in Japan teaching, or does it have any other family stuff or anything else?
Oh, everything you just said, that's what I do. I like to discuss my experiences, whatever I go through on a daily basis. My podcast, Living La Vida in Japan.
Uh-huh.
And I like to also talk about odd news. Like there's a lot of odd news here in Japan, or for example, some like Burger King has some form of sandwich that does not exist in the USA, or something that's just I'm like Japan is known for coming up with the craziest and most wackiest advertisements I've ever seen, and I like to talk about those on my podcast because I find them interesting because you don't get that anywhere else. I think
Yeah,
it's only in Japan.
yeah.
And I talk about odd news or anywhere I travel or anything I deal with. I bring it all, to life on my podcast. I just love to talk about it, and
Uh,
I always ask my listeners to please share me their thoughts.
and the Living in La Vida podcast is, they can find that on Spotify or any of the platforms, right?
Yes, it's on pretty much every major platform. Living La Vida in Japan is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, what other? hosting sites are
Streaker,
there.
Stitcher. I mean, there's like a yeah.
Yeah, Podbean. Yeah, it's on every major one that's out there. I mean, I put it's everywhere.
That's
You
great.
could get it
I'm definitely
anywhere.
going to check it out because, yeah, what you said about Japan coming up with all these weird things. I know it's the home of like the 700 different flavors of Kit Kat or what have you. And when we were
Yes,
in Tokyo, I
yes.
actually and I tried like this weird ice creams, and I'm just like, ew. I mean, some things should not be, something should not be tampered with. And Kit Kat is like my
I
favorite candy bar ever. So I'm like, leave it alone.
I mean, they have an ice cream called the scent of a woman's sweat.
Ew. Thank God I didn't see
I never
that.
I never tried that. I don't want to try it, but I'm like, who on their mind would come up with this?
And who would want to try that? I mean, like, there's something sick if you want to try that. If you, I can't even imagine what it was. Ugh. Scent of a woman's. Why not a
Sweat.
man? I mean, don't they think women would like to taste that too? As the other
I
way? Is it
I
because you
wouldn't be
guys
surprised.
it's like you guys go to the gym too much. The sweat is not something that women want to eat per se.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat a woman's sweat either, but
No.
okay.
I know. Oh, I can't wait to check out the podcast because it sounds really funny. I love kind of weird stuff like that. So it's something that I'm going to look up and live in La Vida in Japan. So I know you also have a website coming up soon. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, my website is ninjaeddie.com. It is almost finished. I'm 95% done. It's just I have so many episodes I need to upload. That's all I need to do is upload all my episodes. You could check me out on ninjaeddie.com, or you could check me out on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/living la vida in Japan, and you could check me out there too. I put all my episodes there as well.
That's great. Now the episodes when you say ninja, I mean, is it a role playing thing? Is it like you're a ninja and you're going to do all these things? Like, what is it about?
Oh, my nickname, my full name is Eduardo, but everyone calls me Eddie, and I just went to Japan. I'm like, you know what? I'm Ninja
Ah,
Eddie.
I
It's just
see.
because of I'm in Japan, and even before I moved to Japan, I always would call myself Ninja Eddie for whatever reason. When I started playing video games, I would always be my screen name Ninja Eddie because I wanted to, I was really good at video games, so it was just one of those. It sounds good and it stuck.
Ah, that's great. So you would never consider going to ninja school. I mean, really, that would be the place to do it, wouldn't
Oh, I would love to go to the ninja school. There actually is a ninja school. Be honest with you,
it?
that they're
It's
they're
so
still
cool.
recruiting people. They're
Oh,
recruiting soldiers to train. So I am planning on going one day. It's a little bit far from where I live, but I do
yeah.
want to attend and experience the whole class environment.
Oh, sounds
So right now I'm
awesome.
taking yeah, right now I'm taking karate. So I'm getting the idea of how they train, which is really hardcore.
So you're like, I'll be the part-time ninja. Maybe that's a job. That's a thing. Like
Yeah.
part-time father, part-time ninja.
Yes, that would be a thing. I wouldn't mind doing that. That would actually be cool.
That would be great. I know. I mean, it's like I'm the person that's watching the ninja movies, whether it's American Ninja One, Two, Three, Four, every
Yeah.
new movie that was ever made, I'm into it. So that is so cool. That would be like something that I would aspire to be if I were you. Just I would want the same thing. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with people listening to this podcast that, say, you know what? Eduardo is totally killing it out there. He's from Chicago and now he's living in Japan. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to be just as adventurous as you?
I would say, you know what? You only have one life to give. And wouldn't you want to say, I at least try to do something different rather than I should have? I don't like the word, I should have. I rather say I tried, I did, I succeeded or I failed. It doesn't matter if you fail or succeed. The point is you give it your all. And had I not moved to Japan, I don't know what my life would have been right now. I mean, right now I'm really happy in the place at, and I worked really hard to get here. And for anyone listening, no matter what you're doing, if you're not happy, try something new. I mean, the world is in your hands. I mean, that's what my mother used to tell me all the time. The world is in your hands. You just have to work hard to get to where you want to be. And imagine what you want to do with your life. And if you imagine, work towards that goal, just keep going. And who knows, you might end up getting there.
That's fantastic. And that's what I personally will call mic drop, right? So thank you everyone for listening to this episode. It was really so much fun. And I am so glad, Ninja Eddie, that you were able to join me. And it's been a lot of fun. If you're listening to this podcast, make sure you check out his Ninja Living La Vida, Living La Vida in Japan. Living La Vida in Japan channel. Check out his Facebook page. Check out the Ninja Eddie website. Connect with him and, you know, take a page from his book of life. And if you have anything that you want to do, like he said, at least try it. You can always say you tried instead of like, worrying about it and saying, hey, regretting things like years down the line. If you're enjoying the podcast, also please consider subscribing to it on iTunes or whatever platform that you listen on. It's been fun bringing this episode to you. Thank you again, Eduardo.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Kem. I it was fun.
I
It was
will.
fun.
Oh, great. I had fun too. And I'm so glad I learned new things that I didn't know about. And I'm not kidding. I'm going to check out the podcast because I like to know weird stuff.
Well, I have plenty of
So thanks again,
that.
people. Oh, good. Two weirdos together. Yay. Thanks a lot, people. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye
Bye.
bye.